Go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you all for being here. I know the manager has a presentation that he's going to bring to us, but commissioners, anything that you want to say before we get started? I guess not. So, Mike, if you've got a presentation for us.
Yes, today we're going to talk through EMS Post 8 in Park City, and Tanya's going to start us out on that, and of course Scott and Tom and I will be sure to chime in somewhere in here.
All right, well, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I put hands out of the presentation there right before you so you can thumb through that as I'm doing my presentation. This morning I'm here to talk to you about EMS Post 8, which is out in Park City. The facility is at 501 East 53rd, and here is a recent picture of that facility taken about a month ago. Again, this is current location for EMS Post 8. Also there we have a garage bay where we have emergency management and sheriff's office vehicles, and we'll get into more detail about that here shortly. And then towards the south there is a vacant facility there, former fire living quarters. Here is an aerial view of this facility. I thought you would appreciate looking at the to see the square footage, or excuse me, the acres that the property sits on. We have about 5.5 acres there, and you'll see the facility to the north there is the EMS post station. In the middle is the garage bay, and then towards the south there again is the former fire living quarters. A little history of the building. This building was built and constructed in 1991 as a combined fire station and EMS station. It was home for 24/7 living quarters for the fire department and station office for firefighters. There are 6 bays there for firefighting apparatus, and office space, kitchen, locker rooms, and ambulance bay for EMS. Fire District Number 1 vacated their portions of the facility, again that being the garage and the south end, in June of 2008 to move to 7750 North Wild West Drive, where they have a fire station there. Current use of the building, there's a total of 10,544 square feet. On the north end, that's where EMS Post 8, and there are some vacant offices there. That's approximately 3,100 square feet. In the middle, where the apparatus bay is, 3,955 square feet. Again, that's home to approximately 4 emergency management vehicles and 2 sheriff's vehicles. And then the south end, 3,489 square feet, which is mostly vacant. There is some storage being used there for emergency management on the south end. So again, office space, kitchen, locker rooms, and ambulance bay for EMS. The 6 bays that I just mentioned, and storage space on the south end. And there is some storage space being used on the north end by EMS we had a classroom there that they are using for storage space, so that occurs on the north end there. To talk about the current state of the facility, we do have some maintenance issues that we need to address. We need to address roof replacement for the entire facility, clear story, window system replacement. We need to replace those. That's where we have water infiltrating into the building, and so we really need to address those 2 maintenance issues. We have recently discovered there is a drainage issue on the east side where we have stormwater draining into the east side of the facility. We had some mold there that we remediated, but we do have a grading issue that we need to address there. We also, as we've walked through, realized that we need to have some additional emergency lights put in on the emergency management side as well as the EMS side. So the reason for me being here today is to bring you options for this facility for your consideration. As I get into this, I just want you to understand that the options that I'm presenting to you is in no particular order, and as well that these are estimates at this point, preliminary estimates. So just another aerial view here, just to show you how the facility is currently being used. EMS, again, is on the north side. You'll see a red line there. From there, heading north is all of the EMS portion. The middle part that's yellow, there's some vacant space in there, and I think you'll recall as we walk through, there is a classroom that was being used for EMS storage, and then there's a couple of bathrooms, men and women's bathroom, and then to the west of there is a office space that's not being utilized. In the blue there is the garage, again, where we're storing 6 emergency management vehicles and sheriff vehicles. And then again, on the south end is the vacant portion of the facility. Okay, so the first option that we looked at and worked on estimates is to do a full demo of the facility, to build a new pre-engineered metal building for EMS, and a new pre-engineered metal building garage. So the preliminary estimates on that: to demo the entire facility, $52,725. To build a new EMS double bay post, $447,450. I just might add that this is based on the research that EMS did on their site visits with Benton and Halstead for that pre-engineered metal building. And then a new garage, Morton-style type building, $100,000 for that. So total being $600,175 to do that. And if you flip over, I just did an aerial view again to depict what we're talking about. Everything in yellow would be demoed. The X at the top would be where we would put the new EMS post. And then the X in the middle next to the garage is where we would put the new garage. We would hope to keep the concrete pad that we already have existing there for the garage and build the metal building over that concrete pad. Option B then is a partial demo. So what that's looking at is demoing the north building and the south building, building a new EMS post, double bay again, and then repairing the garage that would remain. And so to demo the north and south, $184,150, a new EMS post, again $447,450, and to repair the garage, which would be the roof and the windows, $58,636. I just might add, as you're looking at the demo cost, you're seeing that it's a lot more to demo the north and south versus demo the entire facility. And so I just might add that the reason for that is we will have to provide additional structural support to the garage to keep that those sides now as an exterior wall rather than interior walls. We would have to clean up and fill in the doors and then relocate utilities and restoration of those demo sites. And so just so you understand, that's the reason why you see higher numbers there for those demo pieces. Here is a aerial view again of what I'm talking about. Again, the yellow would be your demo areas, so the EMS and the vacant north and south. The garage would remain, and then the X there at the top on the north end being the new EMS post. Option C then is to repair the entire building and remodel the EMS post. Just indicating in this that is a single bay at the current facility. So estimates on this to repair the building and remodel EMS post is $348,973. And then we do have some ADA work that needs to be done on the EMS side that is funded with ADA CIP funds, but I did want to include that. So total there being $372,880. So just to explain what that repair is, that would be your roofs, your windows, your drainage, and then we would remodel the EMS side for a new remodeled kitchen, and then they would have access to the vacant areas on that side. Let me get that pictorial up for you. So you'll see now that EMS takes over that entire north side. They would take the office area, they would take the classroom area, the 2 bathrooms, men and women's, and then that would become their entire facility there. So again, repairing roof, windows, the drainage, and then remodeling the EMS portion. And then our last option, option D, is to repair the building and build a new EMS post double bay. So to repair the building, that's approximately $190,962. That addresses the roof, windows, and drainage for the entire facility, and then a new EMS post for $447,450. Total there being $638,412. And then again, what I'd like to show here is if we were to build the new EMS post there on the north end, that would make the north side then vacant. EMS would no longer be in there, and then again, you still have your south side that would be vacant. So we don't have any purposes at this time for that usage of those vacant areas. So that is my presentation and options on the EMS Post 8. Also, I'd like to mention that Scott's here today, EMS Director and Interim Public Safety Director, to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, well, I have first question on option D, those vacant spaces, the far north and far south, they have new roofs and be made secure and fix the drainage, and you were going to take out the whatever mold or whatever.
That's correct. The mold's already been taken out, but yes, that we would address the building, so we would take care of the roof, the windows, the drainage for that entire building. Yes.
Okay, but it would not include any remodel on the inside as far as taking down walls, or does it?
It does not. We would do nothing to the insides. We would just repair the building, the maintenance issues.
All right. Some of those spaces are kind of jumbled up on the inside of it. I mean, would the building be more, if we went with option D, would the buildings, those spaces be more functional to us if we tore down walls?
Absolutely.
Or would it, for storage and for whatever?
Yes, I mean, you can go in there and demo the interior, and then you have basically a shell that you can then come in and either put up walls, or you could put shelving. I mean, it just makes it a lot more, flexible space for other usage.
And we don't have just kind of a ballpark estimate of what it might cost to clean out the inside.
I don't at this moment, but I can certainly get that for you.
Okay. And when is the day we need to make a decision? I mean, if we're going to go forward with this, pretty soon we've got to say, all right, we've got to have a decision by now. Have we decided what date that is?
No, I think we're here today before you to hope to get some kind of movement for how you want us to move forward.
The money was allocated in the 2017 CIP, right?
Actually, I think it started back in
2016, yeah.
Okay. So there is no crunch date.
Sooner or later, we got to decide if we're doing it or not. Or
Right.
quit talking about it, or make a decision.
Right.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? Do you have any strong opinions about that?
Option C, you would also give us a list for a summary of the costs and some options. On C, I thought there were some considerations that maybe we should consider I don't know what you call it, clearing out that vacant part, stripping it down, and another one would be to consider painting the building. That's not in this, but it could be added on to an RFP as an option.
Correct.
Both of those things.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
And does this option C include separating the utilities physically?
It does.
Well, if we move forward with C, which is the cheapest, and we purchase to rethink that, I think that we could divvy out the utility cost just administratively. I mean, as opposed to physically separating out. What are we going to, like electric and still?
It was electrical
and all this other stuff. Well, I mean, it's still the Sedgwick County. That's just I think that's an extra cost. Outside of that, I was just looking for input from my fellow commissioners. I mean, the option is either remodel what we have at lower cost, or do a new one plus some of these other options, and so which all take it well over $600,000.
question about the ADA. What is the reason that we have to have ADAs added on option C?
The reason for that is our understanding is that the public will come to EMS stations to either ask for blood pressure checks or for assistance, and so we've got to have some ADA accommodations there for the restrooms, and then I think there's some slope issues there that we need to address for parking.
It's not for employees.
No, it would. I mean, the idea is that it's for the public that would come to that station.
And how often do you have public come in?
Yeah. Scott Headley, EMS. Yes, sometimes we do have public show up. They want blood pressure checks, and/or they have a medical problem. They drive directly to the station, and sometimes access the station. So we do have the public show up at times.
So
I mean, having public present, is that the same thing as having public access and routine use? And not,
No, they don't routinely access the building unless we're there.
But your bays where that they could come in and out of, you'd roll trucks in and out of there. Someone in a wheelchair could roll in and out of there.
Yeah, I don't know the ADA guidelines, but I know if you're remodeling, then that comes into consideration.
But if you have a certain dollar level of remodel, aren't you compelled to then comply with ADA regulations?
I believe that's correct.
So it's not really an option
Correct.
at that level of remodel.
But I went through the building and I didn't see any place that I couldn't roll a wheelchair through if I happened to be in a wheelchair. There's some. Doesn't make sense.
That's probably true.
Can we get a list of the ADA? Can we get a list of the ADA deficiencies that would have to be addressed? Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I can get that to you.
Probably the bathrooms, I'm sure.
It's the restrooms. It's the
Bathrooms,
parking.
the stalls.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where it is.
So we have to provide bathrooms for somebody?
They have to
That's
provide
a
them
requirement.
access.
If someone comes to our facility, then we have to provide them bathrooms.
More of the requirement is if you do a remodel, you have to bring them up to ADA accessibility. Just code.
It seems
It's
to me like
23,000 though. I mean, plus we have an ADA budget for that. So
it seems to me like the first decision we have to make: are we going to build a new 2-bay EMS post? I mean, if that's something we really want to do, then that's item one, and it would mean that option C is not a consideration. If we don't think we need a 2-bay station up there, well then item C is probably the logical choice. So, I mean, that's the big issue. Are we going to upgrade and put a 2-bay post up there now, look into the future, or are we going to say, no, we don't think we need that, so therefore we'll spend the lesser amount and do C. I mean, I think that's our question, isn't it?
I got a number of other questions actually. But yeah, that's ultimately the question. I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
If
May
I'm
I ask some other questions as well, though?
sure.
Regarding the windows, this building's only 26 years old. Are those windows, other than I guess some leaking issues, is that the issue with the windows?
It is. We have water penetrating through the windows that are coming through. So
Has anybody looked at maybe trying to find a way to seal up the? I mean,
They've
do
tried.
people routinely open and close these windows. Is it through?
no, they've
use?
gone through and caulked the windows, and they still have water coming through. And so the recommendation is that we just replace that entire window system.
Out of this cost here, if you could break that down, how much of this is related to the windows in terms of, let's say, remodeling costs on option C?
I would hate to quote any numbers at this point. If I can get that to you though.
The reason I ask is, I mean, visibly the windows look reasonably modern and new, look like something you might expect in a building that you'd find on the market. I wouldn't expect to find a lot of problems with those windows that couldn't be fixed with sealing of some sort, but I guess, in my opinion, the windows are surprising that they're that bad when they don't look all that bad. I mean, when I went out there and toured, I didn't see a lot of evidence of water mitigation around the windows. Maybe there is some, but I didn't see a lot of evidence of that. This building's only 26 years old. Has it ever had a new roof put on? Do we know?
I don't believe so. I think they have repaired it, but I don't believe it's ever had a
It's
new
probably
roof.
just one of those things where you have a building that's 26 years old that just needs to be one of our roof, replacing the roof is one of those things we just expect to do. It's kind of a maintenance thing more than a major CIP decision point. I don't think the roof ought to be our point that we're focused on regarding whether we should go this way or that way, because it's just really more of a maintenance issue. But I guess my opinion is, is it? Let me ask another question on the EMS, 2-bay versus 1-bay. Do we have a justification for 2-bay EMS? There's a lot of 1-bay EMS posts out there, right? I mean, how many out there are 1-bay versus 2?
I don't have the number ahead of me. We're getting ready to open the 16th station. I'd have to get the number of how many are double bay versus single bay. But right now I can tell you all the double bay facilities we have are full with the operating ambulances operating out of them. And currently this year we had to move a couple other of our deployable assets out of the double bay to make room for the new crews. So we're at a space and capacity issue where we're parking some assets outside now, which were parked inside because we added the new crews. As we look towards the future is why we're looking at a double bay. As we reevaluated the need, we could use that double bay to put some of those assets back in and store them inside now that are currently sitting outside. So that would be one of the reasons that we would look for a double bay, plus the future growth in the future. And I don't know if you read the Seed Bar study on the population growth in Sedgwick County over the next 50 years, but we're expected to increase our population in those over 65, and we serve that population, so we're looking at population growth as well. And
Okay, well, assuming that you need a second ambulance at this location, I mean, some of the stuff that's parked in the garage right now, I'd say has very little value to Sedgwick County. I would suggest I displace something that's in that garage right now with the second ambulance because it's right next to the crew office, if you will. So if they have the first call, they would take the ambulance on the north side of the building, and have a second call. There's more crew there that can do it. They would take the ambulance that's in the garage. It's right next to where they're located, so it's not like there's not a garage space to put a second ambulance. There is. Just you need to allocate it for the EMS use rather than for storage. I think that's a point we ought to be making here. I just want to tell you, when you drive down the road here, this looks like a very substantial building to me. It looks like it has an appearance of stature. It looks like a well-built building, and I don't know what this metal building is going to look like, but I would bet it won't look as quality as what we have there now. I'm curious, do we have the cost of what it costs to construct that? Do we have that, and we can look it up and see what the present day value of that investment was and find out what we invested in this building?
Sure, I can get that
I
information.
think we ought to know what we're potentially talking about taking down, because one thing I see out of this, if it wasn't for the south end of the structure, I don't know if we'd be having this conversation right now. I mean, the whole thing is we have a section that has no value, that's vacant, has no value, but the rest of the structure has, and 75% of this or more maybe has value to us right now and could be utilized. All we're talking about is repairing, maintenance, and sealing windows and putting some fresh paint on there, remodeling the kitchen. This is a substantial building, and to replace that with a metal building that has less amenities and less stature, to me, I guess my opinion is, I'm surprised we're down the path this far. They're talking about spending a lot more money for something that's less of a value, less valued building. I don't understand why we do that. I guess my opinion, the answer seems to be kind of like use what you've got, just fix it up. I guess is where I'm at right now.
If we used what we had and fixed it up the way that Jim suggested, do you have space in for housing that second crew? I mean, is that an issue? Don't you need?
Yeah, I mean, the area that we currently occupy certainly wouldn't accommodate a double crew there. I mean, we could park another ambulance if we displaced one of emergency management's vehicles or something like that. I mean, you could park a second asset up there, but, making, in the design to make it amenable to a second crew, I don't know if there'd be enough space what we currently occupy.
Why not?
In that little area, you've been up there in that one area that we occupy has, 4 to 6 people up there. I don't know if that would be conducive in that particular area.
In those other areas, and presumably, I mean, you wouldn't have people sitting in there all the time because they're working.
True.
They'd be out on calls. I mean, they don't spend the night, unlike fire and stuff like that.
Right, you have 24-hour crew, and new crews come in at night, correct. Yeah, they don't sleep.
To the remodel, I thought one of the remodel options, or part of the remodel, maybe it was to tear down that one wall and kind of open up that space there between the hallway and the bathrooms and the kitchen area.
Right, that was discussed, but I don't know if that's in the new estimate or not, or that carrying that one wall between the hallway and the bathroom.
I can tell you in the repair building we're encompassing in there the former fire office that would become a day room, and then the classroom, which would become a multi-purpose room. So they would gain those additional space as well as the restrooms in between there. So.
Okay.
Do we have building managers that try and look after the buildings and take care of them? Because that building is a disaster inside. I don't know who's in charge of it, but they've piled crap in there, they've let it disintegrate. I was very disappointed with the condition inside of that building when I went through it. We've got a 6-bay facility there that I don't think we even need to relocate any of the equipment in there. We just need to clean up that 6-bay, and I think you could easily park another ambulance in there. And I guess I need to go look at some of the other facilities, because if we're letting our buildings go to pot like we let that one go to pot, we're doing something wrong. So I'm for option C. Myself, I think that we can do some things in that 6-bay to not displace people and still have another ambulance. But I sure hope that if we do remodel that or even build a new one, I don't know what the consensus is going to be, but we sure take care of it better and don't pile crap in there and make the building just look like just a trash heap.
To answer your question on the building manager, I asked David and Tanya to look at establishing building managers not too long ago, so we are addressing that.
Good, thank you.
Of course, a little bit of that's what's happened when you've got unused storage space. You're throwing stuff in there you don't use much. It's the logical way it looks.
But if you had a building manager, they wouldn't have let that happen when you got unused space.
Well, it still seems to me, see, we gotta say we are not, we're not gonna, we don't think long-term if we're gonna invest this money. We're gonna invest some money. Long-term, is it better to build a new building that's fit for 2 crews and 2 ambulances and then make a decision what we do here? Or do we just say, nope, we don't need that type of a facility, we're gonna just remodel what we got? To me, that's still a question. My preference is that if we're going to spend some money and look to the future, that we get prepared to make a good long-term investment. So I would prefer, option A or B, for my way of thinking. But I can see that option C can be made to work. We can just remodel the building and shuffle some things around and even make it into a 2-post facility. If that's what we want to do, but it will not be, to me, it's not the optimum arrangement. But I mean, I can see that it can be done, so.
I think we have to remember, this used to be a combination fire station and EMS station that had fire crews there the whole time. And so I don't see why we can say it doesn't have room for 2 EMS crews and 2 ambulances. And we have,
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of room.
Question, Tanya, is option C truly a design for a 2 ambulance station?
No.
That's what option C is?
Option C is remodeling the current EMS post, so just the single bay, and then taking care of the building, the roof, the windows, and the drainage issue. So you would still, on option C, you would still have a single bay.
A, B, and D are for 2.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So C
got
is
4 bays right there.
hold what we got.
That's my question. Why couldn't you make both bays inside of the middle garage and displace the other vehicles, and then the 2 ambulances would be right next to each other in the middle bays, and you could move one of the vehicles to the front bay,
The stored vehicles.
a stored vehicle.
Well, the
That would be an
vehicles
option.
have to be side by side anyway.
But for
It isn't.
convenience,
What can
because it says it's only $100,000 to build a big garage. A 6-bay garage is $100,000.
Metal building, yes.
Right, a metal building. That if we actually needed to do it, we could do that as well. Because we have plenty of land out there.
Mhm.
Okay.
But if we would go with option C and try to look for future 2 post, it's going to take a little more money than that because we're going to be doing a little more remodeling. Is that right?
Yeah, it's almost an option E.
Yeah.
What would we have to remodel? You need a couple chairs?
Yeah, we need that for sure.
I mean, oh my gosh. This is-
They need three chairs.
I appreciate the, I want option C with those two other things on there, unless there's some opposite, because we're just being, I'm sorry. That's my preference, I'm not gonna say anything else.
Scott, is the garage in the existing facility, the 6-bay, the large garage, is that heated?
It currently is heated. I don't know that they're using the heat in the big
Or we could
garage.
get it heated if we needed it?
Climatized.
Yeah,
Because the ambulance have to be above 50 degrees.
correct.
Because the medicine's down there, so it's got heat and everything you're talking about makes sense.
I'm sure those fire trucks are parked in there, we didn't freeze them up.
I mean, I just don't understand the idea that a facility that was okay with fire and EMS is now not okay for 2. And right now, we only have 1. It's just.
I think the question though is option C is not preparing those bays for full-time occupancy, is it?
Is that a
No,
major cost?
Like it was for, I'm sure they'll have to get some costs to now climatize it and get it up to.
yeah, I don't know if the heaters even work out there. We'd have to look at that.
I mean,
They
there
haven't
is a
been
cost
operating.
that's going to be associated with getting that back up to running like it was when it was a fire EMS station. I'm sure there is a cost to that. I don't know what it is. But again, that's an option E. We didn't account for that.
Yeah, it seems to me that there's a consensus that we want to use option C, but if we're going to go that way, we want more information. I think if we go option C, we ought to make plans that the remodel and the fixing up would handle 2 posts in some sort of professional environment. So if the commission's, it sounds like there's 3 opinions that we should do item. So if we're going to do item C, then we need more information as to what the cost might be if you fixed it up the way you wanted it using what we got. Does that sound?
I mean, just throw out there, when you say the way you wanted it, I guess,
That's
I want to make it, functionally good. I want it to be so when people drive down the road, they see a nice facility there. That ought to be a good goal for us to make it, it needs to be what the folks using the facility need, but I don't want to do things that aren't needful. I guess, so when you use the word want versus need, I guess I have a little bit of I cringe just a little bit. All I know is there's about $300,000 difference in options, the replacement versus remodel cost plans here. And we talk about what would you do if it was your own money versus taxpayer money. I think this is a good discussion because to explain tearing down a substantial building, replacing it with a metal building at a higher cost, to me, it doesn't make sense. We got to find a way to use this building, meet the needs, refresh it so it looks like a brand new building, make it look nice and functional, but let's draw the line there. Let's not go and do things that are not necessary. I guess is kind of like the Paint Carpet Plus thought on the Reagan building. Let's find a way to. Is it really needed to be changed, or is it something we can live with, type of thing? That's.
But I think we need to have a more specific look at using the building that way and getting it functional that way. Perhaps want wasn't the right word, but we need to get it to where it's an investment that the citizens of Sedgwick County are going to be. I mean, I think we need to be proud of what we're investing in. I don't think anybody wants us to just, I think.
I agree with that.
Maybe.
Well, I do appreciate all the work that you went into this. I want to thank you for that. I do lean towards option C, but I think we need to do some modifications to option C. Remember the Yahoo principle, YAHO, you always have other options. So just use the Yahoo principle and see if we can modify option C, would be my preference.
I don't hear anybody dissenting from that, so we've made some progress in that we think we're going to use current facility, and that's where we are at this point, unless you come back with numbers that change our mind. But let's get it understanding the word want. Let's get what we want and see how much it costs.
I will work with Scott, commissioners, to modify this so that we have an understanding that they would have two crews there and see if there's any modifications we can make.
And bring it to me. I'm not gonna put in a lot more extra money for this, okay? I'm getting frustrated for this whole process, okay? We need to remember who's paying the bill. Stop making excuses as to why we can't use this building.
Well, we're planning to use it right now.
Yeah,
I understand, but just bring it to me, okay? And don't bring me a bunch of crazy numbers like have been brought to me in the past.
You know what about storage?
The vehicles.
That's it. Move forward.
Could you turn
All right, thank you, commissioners.
Thanks.
as long as
I didn't hear anybody say no, so that's what we're doing, okay? All right. What's next?
Good.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have anything else you want to bring up? Richard?
You want me to bring something up?
Well, if you want to.
No.
I'm all for you, man. What do you want to bring up? Let's talk about it. All right. David?
Yes, sir.
Michael?
Nope.
Jim? Okay. I don't either. Got a nice letter about Mr. Borchard's operation. Said that he met all the
Statistical.
that's the word, performance standards for. So anyway, congratulations once again. You're doing what you're supposed to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. And then another question. I know that we're still moving forward to end up with some solid numbers on space requirements relative to administration and so forth. That's
Correct.
coming pretty soon. All right.
We'll have something right after Labor Day. It's supposed to be 1 September, but seeing how that's on a Friday, we'll bring it. We'll have it that following week.
Okay. I don't know anything else. Except Tom's older today.
Yeah, sorry.
But you don't seem real happy about it. Well, happy birthday anyway. All right. Okay, anything else? From all our DIO technology folks, everything's just smooth as butter, right? Okay, good.
How's fleet management?
Fleet?
Yeah.
Doing good.
Good.
Meeting that right after this, sir.
All right. Anyone else from around staff, around the table? Our elected folks? No? Yes? Okay, I'm looking so I can see everybody in the eyeball here. All right, well, I mean, if we're finished, then we're finished, so we can be adjourned.